Welcome to our community. Susie Thomas with you this morning. We got a special treat today. We've got Angelia White. She is the CEO of Hope for Women, and here because she's also the author of Yes, Sisters, Surrounding Yourself with Women Who Affirm, Encourage, and Challenge. Good morning, Angelia.
Good morning. How are you today, Susie?
Doing great, and thank you so much for spending some time with us. My first question, Angelia, is when I look at your title, Surrounding Yourself with Women Who Affirm, Encourage, and Challenge, Angelia, that's not what women tend to do.
That's true.
So,
that is absolutely true.
probably why you wrote the book, right? Tell
Exactly.
who are Yes Sisters and how do we find these awesome people?
Yes, sisters are the sisters that speak just that, a yes, or they're the ones that encourage us when we have what in the book we consider as no sisters, or those sisters that aren't so nice or kind at times. And that happens. So the Yes Sisters are the people who build us up. They encourage us. They lift us up. And we all have them. It might not be 10 of them, but we can think of at least one or two women that have spoke something positive in our lives.
Does it matter how many Yes Sisters you have in your little group?
I don't think so. I think what matters if you have the right people. The quality sisters in your life is what really matters. It doesn't matter if it's 2, 1, 5, 100, you know. I'm a firm person that believes less is more.
Okay.
The less that you have to deal with, but, you know, there's just that one person could just be everything to you. So,
why is this so important?
I think it's important because that's how we grow. We can't do this. We can't do life and journey, just everything that we have going on as women or just individuals, period. We need somebody. We need women that they challenge us, they affirm us, and they tell us when things aren't going good, when things look dim or dark. They're the ones that say, you know, there's a brighter day ahead of us. So I think it's so important that we have women that empower us daily. So, yeah.
When I heard about this, I kind of thought that's almost biblical. I remember, you know, the Bible telling us that the older women should instruct the younger women about how to do everything. Is that kind of what you had in mind?
I did. It's because it's more women that have been seasoned. They've been places where I was trying to get to. So even though we might be close in age, but they were still more wiser. They had their faith was at times a little stronger than mine. So, you know, I had to lean and depend on them. And you know, when I couldn't pray, they prayed me through things. So I think that is definitely what is biblical. So, yeah.
Yeah. I'm thinking of, you know, a lot of the really great prayer partners I've had in the past. I mean, you know, women in Bible studies. But like I started off to say, you get a group of women together and we're going to go back to being 8th grade girls again. And that can sometimes look kind of bad. How do we move beyond that? And even if we recognize in our own selves that when we get together, we fall into comparisons and, you know, all the things that you just don't want to do.
Right. And that's when this definitely was one of the reasons why I even consider this title and everything, just because we do. You think, you know, I've asked myself the question numerous times, Susie. It's like, wow, we're in our 40s and we're in our 30s and we're in our 50s. I thought the middle school stuff was going to be over, you know?
Right.
And
I know.
You know, and it's just like, just what in the world has happened? You know, you think we would grow up and, you know, and have grace and mercy and all that good stuff, but it doesn't.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and yet we are hungry for fellowship with other women. We join women's club and we join Bible studies and we join garden club. We join book club. We have all this time with small groups of women and fall into mean girls. I want to go two directions with this. How we find those yes sisters and how we become a yes sister for others. So let's start with finding them first. Where do we find these people?
And one of the conversations that we have often with some of my girlfriends that are like, they are my core yes sisters, and how we met. And one thing is that we all are in agreement, and I'm sure you can agree too. Often is that when we've been hurt or wounded or broken by women, we become guarded. Mm-hmm. And so we have these boundaries, and we're like, we're not going to let no one cross me this way. And so we set, these boundaries because we don't want to get hurt again. And so I believe that's when you really have to continue to trust and pray. I definitely think prayer is definitely the key. And it's kind of like, just try the Spirit. If you, meet someone and just really, just kind of, just try them out, try women out. And often you kind of get that vibe right off the bat. But, if a person is going to be gossipy and not nice and just nasty and mean, you can kind of see it right off the bat. And that's when you have to make a decision and determination if you want to continue to move forward in that relationship.
Do you ever have to come to a point where you really do, for lack of a term, break up with some of your friends?
I have. I've had to, because it's just like, because that's not my character. Mm-hmm. And I've always said, my mom said, "Oh, you're just always the kind person." But I've always been that person. It's the reason why I started the magazine. I've always wanted to encourage and empower women. Mm-hmm. And I've always been the one to believe that, if we tear down each other, if we gossip and keep a whole bunch of, messy things going, that's not helping That's not helping.
What would be some flags to watch for in those more toxic of relationships and friendships?
Well, some of the red flags is definitely that comparison. Yeah. I think you mentioned that earlier. Yeah. Sometimes you have, girlfriends that you see, you have a great idea. And next thing you know, I have the same idea, or you share something in secret, and then they're doing it before you even had the opportunity to even get it out, Mm-hmm. And so those are red flags, or just, if they're saying bad things or mean things about someone else, chances are when you're not in the room, they're saying the same things about you.
Isn't that a great way to tell? If someone is sharing little did you know with you about somebody else, that should be a flag that, they probably are doing the same about you with others. It feels great to be in on the in. And boy, we should check ourselves, shouldn't we? If we find ourselves being sucked into some gossipy thing about somebody else.
Mm-hmm. And that was one of the most difficult chapters, couple chapters that I had to write, because I had to do, that's when you have to do self-inventory. It's like, oh, I'm like, I don't look so hot. Yeah. So the whole self-reflection was just like, whoa.
We've all been there, and that's okay. We can all just be real here. That's I appreciate you saying that. And isn't it true that we never learn more than when we're put in a position of teaching something to someone?
Exactly. That's true.
Oh, man, that just holds up the mirror every time, doesn't it?
It does.
Tell me a little bit about Hope for Women and the magazine that you do.
Oh, wow. Hope is the magazine I started 15 years ago. I had lost my grandmother and my father like in a 2-month span. And I had always wanted to bring women together. And so I, in our women's group, I said, well, I'll do a newsletter. And I was like, I'd go to 50 to 100 women. And before I knew it, Susie, it was thousands of women.
Wow.
And I, what I said is Hope was my lifesaver. It was basically my journey. Is I wanted to empower women. I felt like I was stuck. I was in a bad spot emotionally, spiritually, physically, and I wanted to be healed, but I didn't know how to be healed. So while I was publishing and figuring out how to publish a magazine called Hope for Women, it was really about me.
Wow.
In my journey. And I didn't know how to be vulnerable. I didn't know, I was, had a lot of shame. So a lot of times I would use these great writers to tell my story without me sharing my own story. But as I began to heal and really let God work in my life and be okay with the shame and just everything, that I wasn't a failure, and all those things that I felt like were bad and negative, he began to use them as positives. Yes. And then I looked back and I was like, wow, and one of the things, he always inspired me early on. I believe it was the Spirit that said, it's not about you,
wow,
but it is about you. But you have to be able to deliver this to women. And in turn, he blessed me to do Hope.
Oh, that's so beautiful. How do we get it? Where do we find it?
Online, we have a digital publication, and you can go up to our website at hopeforwomenmag.com. We have an amazing newsletter. Daily articles that come up on the website are published. And then we have a quarterly publication that's digitally. And we are hoping to bring it back in print because everyone loves print, of course.
Yeah.
We like to have a companion.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's nice to travel with and so forth.
It is. Lots of sharing.
What do you find seem to be the issues that women deal with most right now in our current culture?
I think one of the biggest issues is having self-confidence and loving who we are. Again, there's that word comparison, with social media and everything.
Yeah.
I wish we can go back to the days when we didn't have to see you on your yacht and and all this extra stuff. Is because there's a lot of pressure to feel polished, and no one wants to have flaws anymore. And I think that's one of the big issue that we're having, is just the whole transparency and just being ourselves and just loving who we are.
I love it every once in a while when I see a friend take a shot of the dirty dishes and the house in a mess and no makeup on, saying, okay, I'm putting this on Instagram today, just to let you know this is more reality. You're right. It's a highlight reel, isn't it? And
it is.
Like anything, can be used for such good. I mean, what a wonderful communications tool that we've been given. But then also it can be used for not so good. And we get into the comparisons. I can never measure up. My goodness. Even to the point of despair that we've seen in some teens and younger people. Your take on all of that?
Well, again, I think, and it's unfortunate we have to have classes and sessions just to be even to talk about, and I guess I use my platform for that a lot. Susie, is to let people, you might see me I might be fixed up one day, but that same day you might say, well, what happened to her lashes?
Nice, yeah.
I don't want it on. I really don't like it. But I think there again, it's just having that conversation, having, those who have platforms and media outlets, and just being able to share, because, with young people, as well as older people, that, to know and learn who they are and who they are matters.
Yes. We are speaking with Angelia White. She's the author of Yes, Sisters, Surrounding Yourself with Women Who Affirm, Encourage, and Challenge. And we'll be back with Angelia after these words. You're listening to Our Community. Welcome back to Our Community. Susie Thomas visiting with Angelia White, author of Yes, Sisters, Surrounding Yourself with Women Who Affirm, Encourage, and Challenge. Angelia, we started off by saying, where do we find these people? Do we start in our most inner circle with family and friends and work outward, church? Hopefully we find people like that. And then I've got a part 2 for this question. But go ahead and tell me, first of all, where do we find these people?
They're right, all those places you named. They are at church. They're Many of my Yes Sisters have been co-workers. They're in, the Bible study groups, book clubs. There are even women that are on social media that we've never, ever met before. We just see them on social media, so they can be in various places.
Is there ever a way to turn a no sister into a yes sister?
I think that would have to depend on that no sister. I think, having conversation, you can have conversation if that person is open to change, but the ultimate decision or the ultimate, the final outcome would be if that no sister wants to, want to do better. I think that's with any of us. If there's, things that we're struggling with, unless we do the work, the real hard work or the work, it really depends on us. And you can still love, not to say you can't love that no sister, you can love that no sister, but you may have to love them. And I hate, a lot of times I don't like that, to say love them from the distance, but you have to that's where boundaries comes in.
Yes, to be able to set those and know when something's building you up and when something's tearing you down.
Yes.
How do we become the kind of friend that we would want to have? How do we become a yes sister?
Well, I think we have to be transparent, and this, what's the word I'm looking for? Just real. I think that's what I love real women. I mean, I love to see you, I like to see if you were at a dinner setting and you grab the salad fork rather than the dinner fork. I love that,
Yes.
It's like, am I supposed to use the butter now? Reach over,
Yes.
It's like you never know how that's supposed to go. But I love women that are just unique and genuine like that. That it's like, oh, don't worry about it, girl. We're going to eat anyway.
Yeah.
Yes.
So. Well, and I was always taught that that's what manners is all about, making everybody around you feel comfortable, not uncomfortable.
Exactly.
That's what the point was. So what does this look like when yes sisters get together? What do we do? What do we do to encourage each other and build each other up?
We definitely speak the word of God into each other. We share scriptures. We pray together. That's one of the key things we do. We pray together, but we laugh. We affirm each other. We tell each other how gorgeous, girl, I love those shoes. Where'd you get that bag at? Where'd you get that blouse? That's cute. Let me have it. We do some fun things. We go out to lunch. We go out to dinner, and we're Susie, I have you covered this time. Don't worry about it. We do some amazing things together. We're there for each other when we go through loss of loved ones, death, divorce, job loss, ups and downs in relationships. We're there for it, and we're not there. We don't judge. We love you regardless.
Yeah. You also say that yes sisters challenge one another, and so that can be a little tougher. That takes a tougher love, doesn't it? And it's harder to hear, harder to receive. How does that look in a good relationship?
Well, we're here in the Midwest, and a lot of my girlfriends are from like New York and different places like that, and it's like a different mindset that I have here. And they were the ones that challenged me. When I wanted to think smaller, they said, no, just don't think Indiana or just Midwest. Think big, think global, I used to think, well, I'll just probably do a book, and it would just probably be, for just a few people. And it's like, no, you got to stretch your faith. So those sisters, when they challenge you to be better. I remember one of my sisters told me that you need to finish school. She just flat out told me, you've come too far. It's been almost 30-some years. Now it's time to finish. So she challenged me to, put that on my to-do list.
Wow.
Last summer I put it on my to-do list, and I was a senior, only had 15 credit hours just to finish And so in May of this year, I'll be done.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
That
Thank
is
you.
awesome.
Thank you.
That is awesome. And you're right. Sometimes those are just things we wouldn't do unless we had someone kind of lighting a fire under us a little bit and supporting us along the way,
Right.
emotionally and so forth. It sounds like you have a great group of your own. And
Oh, it took a long time to do it.
yes,
It was a lot of work.
building your posse.
Yes. Oh, yes. My tribe, my
Yes.
row, whatever we call each
Yes.
other now.
Yes. It's just so great to hear that it's possible to do. But then a lot of people would stop there and be very satisfied with life. You took it a step further and created a book and wrote a book about it. How did that come about? What was that? Was that one of your yes sisters saying, Angelica, you need to write this now?
It was. I was actually interviewing. She had actually wrote for the magazine when I first started the publication, and I've always thought she was amazing. Her name was Tricia Goyer, and I had talking to her. We were talking via social media, Facebook, and I had said, "Girl, you done wrote 80 books." And I'm trying to write one. I can't even get the one done. And she was like, "Well, tell me a little bit about what you want to write about." And I shared a little bit about it, and then she said, "Well, I'm going to connect you with my literary agent." I was like, "Whoa, okay."
Nice.
And just like that, and then I had a conversation with the agent. And she said, "Let's get back together in a couple weeks and pray and see if, we both agree that this is a fit." And we came back together, and she said yes, and I said yes. So that was two incidents where two ladies said yes to me. So these women spoke a yes to me, and made it possible that my dream and to empower me, to affirm me to keep going, that, hey, it hasn't been in vain, because doing the publication and being an entrepreneur and self-publishing has been quite challenging.
Yes.
But at that moment and instance, I realized that my story mattered. And I was then, they pitched me to several publishing houses, and a lot of them were coming back with great positive yeses again. And then next thing I know, we're in the process, and now we have a publication. And something that I knew from the beginning is that everyone doesn't have the opportunity to publish a book with the agent and do that whole experience. But I was really blessed to be able to have that happen.
Do you have another book in mind? Will there be a part 2?
Yes, well, we talked about a part 2. I don't know what it is, but my agent said we got to start planning for the next one. I was like, oh, okay.
Nice. And the thing about agents is they're serious about deadlines and things like that, My goodness.
Yes, they are.
Oh, man. Well, the whole idea is just wonderful. Yes, sisters, surrounding yourself with women who affirm, encourage, and challenge. You mentioned that these were all people who were saying yes to you. We also need people in our lives who love us, who say no as an affirming thing. Do I make sense? That sometimes if we're going the wrong direction, we need those people who love us enough to say, you might be going down the wrong path there. How do we reconcile that in our lives?
Oh, I see. I had I had a few times when I didn't really hit the mark per se with different cover women or features. So I have these people out there. It's like I don't know where they come from, but it's like if I do something, they're like, "Hey, girl, I need to tell you now why you have her on the cover, why you feature that person," and they are just. We have to have those individuals that really speak the truth, because we don't want to have a whole bunch of, I know what you're saying, yes people. We need some people to tell us, no, that's not right, and because that helps us grow, we need people, and they challenge me to say, you need to work hard to make it matter. If you're talking about hope for women, you need to have women on your covers and throughout your page. It has to work according to your brand, so. Yeah.
Sometimes the people who know us the best, it's the the toughest relationships, the ones very closest to us. It's easy to put on a really happy face for people that are just acquaintances, but making this doing life together and being encouraging the whole way down that road, it's a little, that can be where the rubber meets the road, and it's a little trickier. Do you agree? What's your take on that?
I agree. I've actually had, made me think of one of my good friends, and I hadn't posted a few days on social media, and she picked up the phone and called and was like, "What's going on?" And I just wasn't feeling it. I was just like, I'm just in a real bad funk, and I can't pull myself together. And so then she said, "Well, let me hear, let's talk it out and everything." And, you're going to have good days and bad days. But I mean, what I thought was really fabulous is that, like, how did you know? She said, "Well, I know you. I mean, you hadn't shared anything.
Yeah.
You normally say something positive, and we hadn't heard from you." She said, "When you're connected and when you are vested in someone, you know." So
I think it's awesome to have a friend like that. And don't we all aspire to be that kind of a friend, to have our antenna up enough that we're sensing when something is not right with somebody and act on it, not just think about, haven't heard from them in a while, but to act on it, that she picked up the phone and called you is just super special.
I think it's a social media meme that goes around. It says, check on your strong friend. They need prayer and help too.
Ooh, that is good. How do we get this book? Yes, Sisters. Where do we find it, and how can we pick up a copy?
It is available at Amazon. If you Google it, on Amazon. It's on Books A Million, Barnes and Noble, Goodreads, ChristianBooks.com. So it's all over the place. It's exciting.
Well, you know what? I'm just thinking, as we move into spring and we're kind of starting to get out of the house and everything like that, it would be a wonderful time to share this with someone as we approach Easter. Maybe pop it into someone's Easter basket.
Oh, it's definitely a great share for you to get with your girlfriends and just read it. Talk about your relationships together. Mother's Day is coming up. It's a good time for Valentine's Day, yeah.
And we said book clubs is one of those places where women try to form relationships. What a great book club book for a group to go together, or a Bible study group to take a look at this. It's called Yes, Sisters, Surrounding Yourself with Women Who Affirm, Encourage, and Challenge. And Angelia White, thank you so much for bringing this to our community today.
Thank you, Susie, so much for having me on your show.